Pursuit is about the process of getting better, allowing things to look ugly, allowing things to be unfiltered, allowing things to be raw, allowing things to not be at its perfect state, to know that it's flawed, but still improve. In 2026, you're going to miss a day, but it's about the pursuit of continuing to get up and keep going. A lot of times we don't hit our goals when we want to and we give up because we're working through a lens of being perfect versus working on the lens of a pursuit. If you want to truly reach your goals in 2026, fuck being perfect.
Take it from me someday.
I truly believe that a well-crafted story has a chance to impact athletes and brands and people all over the country to unite them.
Someday we'll all be free.
I'm sure you set huge, big goals for yourself in 2026. And the number one reason people don't reach their goals is not because they're not good enough, but because they stop trying. Most of the time, they stop trying because there's some sort of obstacle or setback that's in their way. What's actually required out of them to reach their goals is actually to step outside. It requires them to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. So if you're a dreamer, high achiever, someone who's ambitious and struggles sometimes with reaching their goals because they get stuck in these obstacles, then this is the episode for you. In this episode, I'm going to break down the two types of obstacles people typically face and how you should mentally approach these challenges so you can actually overcome the setbacks that you're facing and reach your goals in 2026, and even better than that, transform your life forever. Before we get into this topic today, I want to go ahead and reintroduce myself. Hi, my name is Roman Brown. Roman Isaiah Brown. Isaiah is my middle name. I'm still not sure if I'm going with Roman Isaiah or Roman Brown. I'm like in the middle of a rebrand. That's a whole nother discussion for another day, but I am here. I started this podcast because I am currently on a journey to building my dream life. And I wanted to share my ups, my downs, all my struggles, the things that I'm going through in real time with you guys. My listeners probably are going to be people who are very ambitious, people who are dreamers, people who are visionaries, former athletes, all across the board, people who really are trying to be successful in their lives. Sometimes the journey is difficult, it's hard, and I just want to be that person to one, be there with you on your journey as I'm on mine, and we can just like help each other. And then I can share with you tips that I'm learning on the way so it can help you on your journey. Eventually, I will have people on, athletes, creatives, visionaries, entrepreneurs, to talk about their journey as well, who are probably steps ahead of me and maybe steps ahead of you as well, to actually provide some amazing feedback on things that you can implement in your daily life. If you haven't, please like and subscribe to this podcast episode, but also comment. If you have something like that you actually like and there's something I say that sparks conversation, please share it in the comments, because I want to actually build a community, not just off of vanity metrics, not just off of likes and views. That's not what I'm about here, but I'm actually about building a community. And so if you do find something that's valuable, share it. If you have a question, share it in the comments and let's actually start some good conversation. Okay, overcoming obstacles is really hard, but I believe it's the only way to greatness. Every single great that I have come across or seen or heard about, they all had obstacles that they had to overcome. Michael Jordan had to overcome the Detroit Pistons. Steve Jobs had to overcome people thinking his ideas were dumb. Kanye had to overcome people telling him that he couldn't rap. Tiger Woods had to overcome his skin color because of the sport he played. Obstacles show up in big forms and in small little things every single day. If you really want to become the version of you that you want to become, if you really want to achieve the things that you set out for yourself in 2026, you're going to have to overcome some type of obstacle to get there. You don't want a setback, an obstacle to keep you from getting to where you're supposed to be in this life, right? And to actually living out your dream life. The reality is we try to avoid setbacks, challenges, obstacles as much as we possibly can. It's human nature to try to get from point A to point B with the least resistance possible. It sounds good on paper. The reality is it actually doesn't evolve us. What evolves us is actually the resistance. That's what pushes us to become great, to actually reach the goal. It's like when you're going into the gym, you get stronger by the more resistance you have. You get stronger through that process. Michael Jordan, what pushed Michael Jordan to be great, he was really phenomenal at the beginning of his career, but him not getting past the Detroit Pistons, it pushed him even further to become great. Relish in that. Don't push it away. Reframe your mindset around obstacles. It's an opportunity to become a better version of yourself and to become better at your craft. Literally one of my favorite scriptures, I used to have this in my bio. It says, "My brothers and sisters, think of the various tests you encounter as occasions of joy. After all, you know that the testing of your faith produces endurance. Let this endurance complete its work so that you may be fully mature, complete, and lacking in nothing." What's the most interesting thing about this verse? It says, think of the various tests you encounter, right? The various obstacles, the challenges that you face on a daily basis. Think of it as occasions of joy. I know this is pertaining to more of a spiritual sense, but I do think this can be taken on every single phase of your life, right? To think of the obstacle as not something to get around, but look at it as I am joyful for the challenge I have. And I know that sounds even crazy coming out of my mouth, but to be joyful for a challenge, because this challenge allows you to grow in your character, to push yourself beyond your current version of yourself and actually become the person that you're meant to become. It's actually an amazing thought to have. I try to think of like, man, this thing I'm struggling with, I'm glad it's here because it gives me this opportunity to actually overcome this challenge, to face it head on, to push me out of my comfort zone, to become a greater version of myself. That's a hard mindset to take, but I challenge everyone on here to have a mindset like that. I have struggled a lot with overcoming obstacles. And this year, I really want to change that. I really want to find a way to relish in the obstacles I have and not just let those things keep me from my goals, right? I've had experiences where I have overcome obstacles and it's been great. And I had experiences where I haven't and I've struggled. I'm just going to kind of walk through and share with you guys my experiences that I have and things that have helped me along my journey to overcome obstacles or some of the pitfalls that I've found along my journey as well, because God knows I have those. First, let's break down what are the type of obstacles we face on a daily basis. And I think there's actually two different types. One is more of an external obstacle, the other is more internal. The external obstacle is more of things that happen that are outside of your control. For example, I had to go to the gym today. It was snowing and it was cold out. And my gym is a mile away, which is not crazy far, but it's far enough that like I can have the excuse like, oh, it is cold outside and I got to go all the way to the gym and I don't have a car. So I have to go run to the gym or walk in the gym and it's super cold and it's slippery and it's wet outside. That is an obstacle that I had to face. The weather is something outside of my control. I don't control the weather, but it's something that became an obstacle for me and I had a decision I had to make. I still went to the gym. I jogged to the gym in the snow, nearly busted my ass. It was crazy. Twice actually, but I made it. That's an obstacle. Some other examples are like maybe it's your family, maybe your family relationships aren't great or the way you were raised or whatever, or even just like you may be in a phase in life where you're having relationship problems and that is a real barrier to overcome when you're still trying to pursue other things. There's an emotional toll that comes with that, right? You're starting a business, but you have a lack of resources, whether that's financial or skill resources or whatever it might be. We have to find a way to overcome those obstacles. Then you have the internal challenges. These are things that are more within your control, right? You were supposed to get up at this time, but you woke up later than you expected or that you wanted to. And so like now you have a decision to make of how you can finish out the rest of the day. Do you allow how you woke up maybe later than usual? Do you allow that to throw off the rest of your day, right? The external challenge is something that's completely out of your control, but the internal challenge is responding to something that was self-induced. which can be difficult. Okay, so now that we broke down different types of obstacles, let's talk about how we actually overcome the obstacles that we do face on a day-to-day basis. I think that there's three things that you need to do to consistently overcome obstacles. The first is killing perfectionism. I want you to choose the pursuit over perfection. Perfection is wanting the results without putting in the reps. Pursuit is the willingness to be unfinished in public. Perfectionism is really just like, you just scared, bro. You scared to actually look bad in public. You're scared because you care what other people think. And so perfectionism will keep you from pursuing. Pursuit is not about perfection. Pursuit is about the process of getting better, allowing things to look ugly, allowing things to be unfiltered, allowing things to be raw, allowing things to not be at its perfect state, to know that it's flawed, but still improve. In 2026, you're going to miss a day, but it's about the pursuit of continuing to get up and keep going. A lot of times we don't hit our goals when we want to and we give up because we're working through a lens of being perfect versus working on the lens of a pursuit. If you want to truly reach your goals in 2026, fuck being perfect. Fall in love with just the pursuit of getting better. Allow that to be good enough. When something doesn't go to plan, don't just be like, well, that was it, and throw out everything that you've worked on. That's the biggest thing I struggle with, because it's like something happens that I didn't plan for, and I'm just like, screw it all. Like, I'm done, I guess. Something is better than nothing. I have times where like I'm supposed to be somewhere, and because I'm late, I won't show up at all. And it's like, no, like if I show up, it's still better than not showing up. A lot of times we think that we have to do something perfect for us to do it at all. In reality is we just need to do it. Tyler, the Creator, I love him. And he said, this really stuck out to me. He was like, if you have an idea and you want to do something and it's not 100% of like the vision that you wanted to do, put out the version that you can, right? If it's 30% of the idea, put it out. If that's all you can do right now with the time, with the energy, with the budget, put out what you do have. You'll get better by putting out what you do have instead of being like, oh man, I don't have the budget to do this, so I'm not just going to do it at all. Even if you put out 30, 40, 50% of the project, you put out 30, 40, 50% of the idea that you had, that's still better than doing nothing at all. Always, 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 something is better than nothing. The second thing you want to do is replace shame with grace. Shame attacks your identity. It will tell you, if you didn't do this, then you are a failure. Grace separates who you are from what you did. So grace says, even though you did this, this is who you are. Even though that you failed this, you're not a failure, you're a winner, right? It's the opposite of shame. I had to work through my shame so much. I've gone through therapy. I've done all the things to work through this. Shame will keep you stuck because it continues to attack your identity. In some of my previous episodes, I talked about how if you want to actually see sustained success, you have to change your identity. And you cannot change your identity if you are stuck in shame. If you are stuck in shame of not doing this task, not doing this, or not doing that, and that becoming your identity, then it's going to be hard for you to actually overcome obstacles, because every time you have a setback, every time something doesn't go your way, you're going to blame yourself and you're going to say, this is who you are. Instead of saying, this didn't go my way, but this is not who I am. And I give grace for myself. I give grace to allow myself to fail. I give grace to allow myself to try and fail. I give grace for myself to pursue something and for things to not go right. Shame wants you to live in perfection. Grace gives you the opportunity to live in freedom, to better live in pursuit of something. I think it's so important because it's something I'm going through right now. I'm in the midst of trying to work through the shame that I've been built up. And unfortunately, in our society, this is something that I feel like is encouraged. It's easy to live in shame, but people don't a lot of times encourage you to live out in grace. Live your life in grace. When you do that, I just feel like it can really change your mindset when it comes to overcoming something. When you have grace for yourself when you fail. And even though you fail, you still look at yourself as someone who's an overcomer, someone who's a winner. You're going to continue to pursue because you believe that you are a winner and you're going to win. So you're going to continue to pursue after your goals, regardless of what happened yesterday or 2 hours ago. The third thing you want to do to be able to overcome challenges is be present. Don't focus on the challenge you have to overcome, but just focus on the next step you have to take to move you closer to overcoming that obstacle. The easiest way to quit is to hyper focus on the challenge at hand, to hyper focus on the mountain you have to climb. Just think about anything big in your life. We create like these huge mountains in our mind. Whether the challenge is big or small, we create something in our mind where it feels impossible. There are some days when I get home, like working out feels like a huge thing. Like it feels like a huge mountain to overcome. But honestly, if I just focus on one step at a time that leads me to the gym, if I just focus on putting on my shoes, getting dressed, that's half the battle. You'll realize once you go through the whole process, oh, I've overcome the obstacle because I just took one step at a time. And a lot of times we think things are harder than it actually is. And it might be something big, but you can't look at it that way. I was actually just listening to Tom Brady. He was down 28-3 in the Super Bowl. It was like middle of the third quarter. Seems impossible. And if you were just to focus on how we're going to come back from 28-3, you're not going to come back. It seems impossible. But he talked about how he would just focus on one play at a time and how he was thinking, let's just go down and score. And then the defense gets to stop, and then you go down and score again. And then next thing you know, the defense gets a turnover, and now you score again. It's a 1 point game or like a 1 possession game. And so things can change like that. Focus on one thing you have to do that gets you closer to your goal. Then do the next one little thing. I actually have a personal story with this as well. For you guys that don't know, I was a D1 linebacker at the University of Houston. I was fifth string. And at one point, I think it was like my sophomore year. And I remember being like, I don't know how I'm going to like overcome this. I could have let that moment allow me to like clock out. Just be like, well, there's really nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do here. This obstacle is too hard for me to overcome. But I took control of what I could control. And I made sure that I studied my playbook more than any other player. I made sure I stayed after getting extra work to be prepared for my moment if my moment did come, which it did. Because I had prepared, it allowed me to be able to overcome that obstacle that was in the way. I just focused on the one thing that I could control. You become great by overcoming obstacles. I just want that to stick. Change your mindset of how you look at obstacles and look at it as a way to, one, be a great story to have, and two, look at it as an opportunity for it to push you outside of your comfort zone, to give you the opportunity to truly evolve into the person that you're meant to be. Certain obstacles may delay what you're trying to do. Just because something didn't happen in the time you wanted doesn't mean that it won't happen or it can't happen. I started Vail Athletics and honestly it kind of failed. There was two obstacles in my way, really. I didn't have the resources and I didn't build up the audience. And I'm saying no, like I will relaunch Vail Athletics and it will be successful one day. I will build an audience and I will get the financial resources to be able to launch that. And it may take longer, it may take years longer, but it's going to happen. To all the people out there that's chasing a dream and it's not in the timetable that you want it to be in, just know that like it don't have to be. It doesn't have to be, right? Continue the pursuit that like I'm going to get it at some point. If it happens 10 days from now, 100 days from now, a year from now, 5 years from now, just continue the pursuit. Get rid of the timetable and fall in love with the pursuit and the process of getting that goal. And once you get to that goal through the whole journey, you're going to realize you transformed into this dream version of yourself. If you want to be great, it takes hard shit. And sometimes hard things is just learning how to reframe your mindset around challenges. Right now, I'm in a challenge. I'm doing a challenge called Dark 30 that me and one of my friends created a few years ago. It was a few episodes ago where I broke down the 7 rules to this challenge. And it's a great opportunity to get outside of your comfort zone. That's literally one of the rules, is to do one thing a day to get outside of your comfort zone. And I think this is already a good step to like getting comfortable with overcoming obstacles in your daily life. So if you haven't started the challenge, please feel free to start whenever you want. I will be posting content about the 30 challenge as well. If you like this episode, again, like, subscribe to the episode. And if there was anything that you found valuable, please leave a comment, ask a question. Let's start up conversation. And as always, I'll see you guys next time.
Take it from me someday.